What's up YouTube, Carbos here, back in another video where we talk about cards, money, investing. Today's video is episode 5 of the By the Number series where we discuss one of the top players in the NBA today, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Specifically, how a player of Giannis' caliber and achievements in the last 2 years or so yielded an investment profit of only 6.8%. Alright, let's go. So let's break down what Giannis Antetokounmpo has achieved in the last 3 NBA seasons, excluding the current one. Two-time back-to-back MVP in the 2019 and the shortened 2020 season. He was also the Defensive Player of the Year in 2020, but his Bucks lost to Miami in the bubble playoffs. But he bounced back in 2021 to capture the chip, where he earned his first NBA Finals MVP. Also, not forgetting he was that season's All-Star MVP and has been on the All-NBA as well as All-Defensive First Teams for 3 years running, 2019, 2021. So that's rather impressive. And with Giannis leading the way, the Bucks captured 4 consecutive division titles, including this year, with a combined regular season record of 213 to 96 for 69% win rate. That's really amazing. So with 3 years of achievements, how did I manage to stuff up my investments in Giannis, yielding just a miserable 6.8% return over that span? Well, from this table you can see I didn't really go so heavy on Giannis, but plenty enough, for over $13,000 in revenue across 92 cards. In this video, I'll discuss a series of bad purchases, mistimed purchases, right? Selling into the downswing market and capped by a head-scratching decision that ultimately led me to just abandoning Giannis altogether. And that was just right before he dominated the Phoenix Suns in the 2021 NBA Finals. So if there was an educational video of what not to do as a sports card investor, this would be it. Now, my journey began in August 2019, where the very first NBA cards I invested in were Giannis 2013 base prisms in BGS 9.5 holders, and I touched on this briefly in episode number 2 in this series. I didn't hold on to this Giannis for very long and sold them within a few months at a loss, prior to the start of the season. And Giannis and the Bucks went nuclear in the 2020 NBA regular season before the stoppage for COVID, right? Obviously, I left a lot of money on the table there in exchange for a small loss, right? But despite feeling regret and remorse, I decided to rebuy into Giannis rookie cards. But at this time, I faced an interesting dilemma of buying into NBA Hoops or Panini Pinnacle. Now, I was trying to think very hard of what was my decision-making process back then. NBA Hoops had this white border which you could easily figure out the centering, and with white corners and edges, it's pretty easy to detect flaws. Pinnacle on the other hand were paper cards just like the Hoops, but with inferior manufacturing quality, black edges and corners. So by now you guys should know, right? These kind of characteristics are recipe for disasters, and indeed, but at that time, I kind of felt like I was like a master grader, even though I had very little to show for in terms of grading experience. So I bought 6 of these Pinnacles at roughly about $50 each and sent most of them for grading. The result? Just 1 PSA 10 for my efforts, but it was good enough overall, and I still went on and profit about $750 on the Pinnacle rookie cards. So it's about at this point I probably was feeling pretty good about myself, because if you look at the margins for this $750 profit, it is a whopping 64%. But what's next to come probably will throw all that feel-good vibes out the window. So in one of my earlier videos on this channel, I talked about how I sold my 2 2018 Luka Blue Prisms PSA 10 for $6,500. Yeah, $6,500 for a card that's in excess of about $30,000 today. But at the time, my cost base was only $1,250. So it kind of made good sense to flip the card 4x, right, within the, I think, like 6 months. The problem is how I spent on those profits, right? The first Luka that I saw, I did pretty well, investing in LeBron James Topps 221 paper rookie cards in PSA 10s at $400 each back in December 2019, and PSA 9s at I think about $150. But the second Luka, I decided I was going to be smart and try to outthink or outplay the entire market by investing in year 5 and year 6 Giannis Optic Holos and Prism Silvers. What? Yeah. That's exactly my reaction when I'm looking back at this. So during the boom after the Last Dance phenomenon, where everyone was locked in due to the COVID, resurgence of collecting due to the last dance, and the funny money from the stimulus, right, basically energized the entire hobby. And I decided that it was a great idea, right, to look ahead and put money into these prism silvers and hollows. Now these were averaging around $30 to $50 then, but I figured they were priced low enough that they were safe bets. Send them to PSA, get some tens and make some nice tidy profit. And I also mixed this up with some inserts from 2019, specifically the high voltage and zero gravity. So here's where the learnings began. I had already some success with grading prior to putting money into these Giannis, and so I felt kind of invincible when coming to these cards that I was combing through on eBay. But of course, I realized later on I made so many fundamental mistakes here, and I shall list them out for you. Why not? Right, number one, I was buying Giannis at his prime, and the Bucks were on a tear prior to the league being shut down due to COVID. Yeah, Bucks was on that 3-game losing streak before the season was put on ice, but the record was 53-12. Come on, meaning not only Giannis cards was high, he was super fueled by all the pandemic bonus points as well. Meaning everything Giannis was expensive, and I was buying into it. Number two, there was absolutely no logical reason for me to invest in those inserts, 5-year prisms, and optic hollows. Absolutely none. I was probably caught up with the cost base of under $50, thinking that I could grade a bunch of them, for maybe let's say $10 or $20, and make like $50 each on a PSA 10s or PSA 9s, whatever, right? But a sound mind would have just put a stop to that. Perhaps, it was just the thought of getting a free roll on all the profits that I made from my Luka Blue. Although in one of my earlier videos where I discussed turning down an offer for a Kobe Bryant flawless auto for $2,800, I went ahead with this Giannis endeavor instead, only to buy back the very same Kobe auto a year later for $8,600. So the net return on this Giannis silver hollow insert plan was a net minus $500. So meaning instead of a plus 5,800 that I would have had with that Kobe, it became a minus 500 overall. And once everything is said and done, it's a $6,300 swing. Ouch. Number three, a combination of the earlier 2 points, right? So I didn't see far enough for the potential of these Giannis cards, if there was any potential in the first place. Sure, once the season resumed and the Giannis and the Bucks, plowed through the playoffs and won the chip later on, Giannis cards will go to the moon. But unfortunately, it's probably his rookie cards or his RPAs and high-end stuff will be the one to get in a huge bump. Random silvers and hollows, probably not. But of course, the Bucks got bullied in the bubble and fizzled out, and so did all the value in all of Giannis cards at that point in time. But not all hope is lost, as a lot of these hollows and silvers were still sitting with PSA. But number four, outside of his rookie cards, hyperinflated prices of random inserts and cards rarely go back to where they were. So remember I was saying that I bought these silvers and hollows at a peak of roughly between $30 to $50 raw. Well, they came down a bunch to $20, some even as low as $12, right? Which means in a PSA 10 slab, they're kind of like not worth more than $50. Hence, you can imagine my quote-unquote excitement when my PSA orders started to pop. Who cares about the grades? I was literally throwing away more money and basically sold everything else mostly at a loss. Alright, and the final blow to my Giannis story was my investment in this 2013 NBA Hoops rookie card number 275. So initially I was buying this for about $150 raw, sending some for grading, and even though they will look perfectly centered to me, most of them came back 9s. Still sold them for a tiny profit. So that was not too bad. I think I got like one PSA 10 out of the mix, right? Now, fast forward to the start of the 2020-2021 NBA season. Lakers just won a chip. Giannis and the Bucks are out for revenge, and they swing a big trade for Jrue Holiday. Giannis also signed that massive extension, so I would say that the Bucks were all in. And that turned out to be a critical point for this franchise, but at that time, everyone hated the transaction and the Bucks, right? Me, on the other hand, I felt positive enough, looking at Giannis Hoops 275 rookies in PSA 10s, roughly about, I think, $700 to $800 at a time, with each having a potential to go up to maybe say $1,200 or even $1,500. So I bought in, but to raise capital, I decided to sell my holdings in these. Right, okay. So now I'll talk about these Jordans in a separate video of how I mistimed the market on those as well. But coming back to this Giannis story, so I purchased 9 PSA 10s in a span of a month for a total of about $6,800. And come February, it was a different story from the year before, where the Bucks were sitting at third in the East, but they didn't look like they could overtake the Sixers and the Nets, despite the market being super heated in early 2021 due to the GOAT chase, right? Hoops, Giannis rookie cards didn't really catch fire. So at this juncture, I was already starting my pivot into Marvel and kind of like said I had enough, right? And decided to just sell my entire Giannis holdings for $6,400, netting a $400 loss. Of course, Giannis decided to go berserk again and went on to win the championship. And ironically, his Hoops 275 rookie card didn't perform exactly quite well. It was still hovering below the $1,000 mark. And now, as of today, it's settling down around the $550, $600 kind of range. So in hindsight, selling it at that point in time wasn't really a bad thing, but can you imagine what a crazy ride, right? So I think that if I didn't keep a detailed records or whatever I was doing, for all these Giannis cards that I was buying into, I probably felt I lost a lot of money, doing all the silly things that I did. But, somehow in totality, I managed to bank in a little $900 profit for all my craziness, much thanks to the stroke of luck I had with the Pinnacle PSA 10. So Giannis is probably on his way to win a second title, based on the way he's playing. But, I'm sorry. With my track record here, it's likely I will never ever invest in Giannis again. Alright, that's a wrap for episode 5. Do subscribe and follow for future parts of this series. Do drop a like and comment if you enjoy this content. Thanks for watching, guys. Cowboys out.